Good evening, everyone. Let us know if you can see and hear us okay. Hi, Luke. You okay?
Hello. Yep. I just got back to the worst thing that I did. I knew I had to rush, and I put hot sauce on my food, and
Was
because
it
I had to rush,
Nando's
it was
sauce?
like which one? Is that a Carolina Reaper one? It's basically like super hot, and I got like this sort of addiction to like spiciness. Like even though I enjoy it, but I can't eat it like that
Mm.
quick. But because I had to, and my girlfriend cooked the chicken in our new air fryer and all that, she
Ooh.
loves it. So I can't leave any. So I was like, oh my god, it was literally like 7 minutes to, and I still had these two chicken bits left, but I doused it in hot sauce, and I was like, and my mouth was just, and I was almost chugging, when you chug beer and like you really don't want to, but it's kind of like your mates are telling you to do it, and you're like, okay, it was kind of like that, but I'm here and I made it. 1 minute to
You're
spare.
here in one piece, alive. Got ya. I love hot food, but it doesn't love me anymore, unfortunately. What's up? Who's that? Who's saying that? Yeah, it doesn't love me anymore. Oh, it's Philip Dyke. Good evening, Phil. Yeah, just let us know if you can see and hear us okay. I don't know. Tonight, I'm just going to give a pre-warning. Luke's got a prior engagement, so it's not going to be a long one tonight. It's just going to be a quick catch up with you guys just to see how you're doing, how it's going, kind of checking in with everyone, letting you know about some of the changes that have happened so far this year, some of the things we think might happen this year in terms of selling on the Amazon space, because Phil made a really good point earlier. This is actually, now that Boris has made his announcements, we think that COVID's pretty much over. I know it's not over, and I'm not making light of the situation for a lot of people. I hope anyone doesn't think that. But now that we are fully out of restrictions, which I think we are. I'm not sure. I didn't watch it.
Most places are, I think.
Yeah, I think
Even here, it's like you don't need to even prove you've got vaccinations now, and if that
yeah,
thing, when
yeah.
you travel.
Yeah, so I mean, I know that there's still kind of travel restrictions in place and, that type of thing. So, it's going to be one of those things that, yes, we just like learning to live with it now. But yeah, Phil made a really good point that for a lot of people, and do you know what, it boggled my brain a little bit when I thought about this. A lot of people that are watching this now, a lot of people that will watch the replay, a lot of people, have never experienced a normal year of selling on Amazon, because we haven't had a normal year of selling on Amazon since 2019.
It feels a lot more linear. Is that the right word? Just straight, like predictable.
Yeah.
The word.
Because
I feel there's no, there's a couple of little like annoying things right now, but that's standard anyway. And everything seems to be balanced. What overall what I feel it should be, and so yeah, it's a little more predictable, is what I think, which is good, because you can predict, as in you can prepare for that a bit more than you could with so much volatility.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of the things that were throwing curveballs all over the place were as a byproduct or a knock-on effect because of the pandemic. Think of restock limits last year. That was a knock-on effect because of the pandemic, even though we were technically out of the worst of the pandemic by that time. So I think this year for a lot of people is going to be a really testing year in terms of how they feel about selling on Amazon. I think and I'm going to make this clear, to start with, hi, Mike, hi, Ash, Amanda's joined us as well, is that for a lot of people joined during the pandemic, and like I said, haven't really seen a normal selling year on Amazon. And there may have been people that may have kept in staying on Amazon when ordinarily they might not have done because of the pandemic. And I don't think this has really been talked about a lot over the last couple of years, because obviously it's been such a kind of bull market in the Amazon arbitrage space, is that Amazon, arbitrage most definitely, and I want to say this in the right way without offending people, is what we call a kind of, not a first business or an entry business. It's, you know, it probably is a lot of people's first experience of running their own business. And what tends to happen, I think Amazon arbitrage is a bit of a feeder business, in the sense that you have people, I don't know the percentages, so it'd be interesting to hear people's thoughts on this. You have the people that start it and decide it's, you know, it's for them, and they kind of stay in it and they build their business and they outsource, and they tend probably go to the higher volume, kind of lower margin model. Or you have people that maybe try other areas of Amazon, or maybe other types of online businesses. But because so many people have kept in the online arbitrage space, because it's been so buoyant over the last couple of years, I think this is the first year that people will really start thinking about how they want to take their business forward and what they want to do with their business. Do they want to look at additional income streams? Do they want to look at additional platforms? Maybe they've been in arbitrage. Do they want to look at private label? You know, all these different types of areas. So I think this is going to be a really interesting year for a lot of people, for sure. There wasn't a question in that, by the way.
Yeah, no, I was thinking, yeah, maybe I should reply to that.
But yeah, so I think, you know, let me know, or let us know in the comments, you know, what people are thinking, because like I said, this is you know, it's going to be the first year where we're going to see normal kind of selling patterns returning. You're probably going to see more of those kind of seasonal dips, but of course it all really does depend on what you're selling. You know, most people that are selling in grocery and those kind of staple items, I suppose, you know, there's not a huge level of seasonality within those products. They tend to sell well all year round, but it you know, it really does depend on individuals. I suppose this is a question for you, Luke. Do you think after the pandemic, this will be probably the year where people maybe struggle to grow as much as they might have done over the last couple of years?
Well, I found last year like to be difficult to grow, but I think as a newer seller, well, I say that I'm trying to think, because obviously I can only see what I see, but I obviously struggled for like half a year because of restock limits, or maybe not half a year, but it had a knock-on effect. And I think January and February were decent. I think it came around maybe our end of Feb, March or something like that. And I didn't really get fully out of it decently until end of summer. And so like, okay, I had September, October, November, December. Yeah, like it's almost 6 months it was, because it was just like either clearing out, because there was a mixture of that and there was other things to do with like the minimum order quantity changes to Seller Fulfilled Prime and stuff. So I had like two things working against me, which was, and one had a knock-on effect with the stock. So the Seller Fulfilled Prime thing meant I wasn't selling the quantity that I was before, but that then had a knock-on effect with the restock limit. So it took me even longer to kind of grind out of that pit. But I do know newer sellers that were like, I wouldn't say new, but they were, let's say, within 6 months.
Yeah, 6 months to a year,
yeah. And they were struggling with restock limits at Q4 because they hadn't really built up enough momentum before that to have any like increase in their limit. But when they wanted to, obviously Q4 is when the time you want to, because you know it's gonna be good. They got, you know, one guy, but it's better than nothing. He didn't do anything. But now, once Q4 hit, he then had, obviously he was selling more. His restock limits then improved. Obviously now they're not really there and all that kind of thing. They're kind of gone. But I feel like for him and a lot of people, if they're that new, this will be their first kind of proper year in business for Amazon. Rather than last year, I feel like last year was a struggle for probably more people than not. But I don't know. I mean, I don't speak to every single person that sells on Amazon, so I don't know.
Oh, Nick says, evening, live signal keeps cutting out, guys. Yeah, we seem to have like a bit of we had it on Elite Sellers Academy last week, but I think that was more down to, you know, the strong winds. So I don't know if it's more a case of internet and everything's not been as good. So apologies for that. I've plugged into the
well, I did notice your video was glitching just a tiny bit, but everything else is fine.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't want to discourage live viewers, but the only thing about watching things on replays is if there is any signal problems or anything like that, it doesn't show on the replays. It always makes me laugh when I watch someone else's videos and they said, "Oh, sorry, it's cutting out" or whatever. But on the replays, obviously, it's not an issue for that. So, yeah. nothing I can do about that, unfortunately. So I think the only thing we can do is come back out, go back in, see if it makes a difference. But it does look like it's me, not me personally, but it does look like it's my signal. So apologies for that. We'll try. Well, yeah, it's probably because there's like a million people in my house that are using all the internet and you know, on different devices and doing this and doing that. So yeah, apologies. But I agree with you, Luke. I think I've seen some of the biggest success stories over the last 12 months of people coming into the space and trying different things and, you know, really coming into the kind of reselling model. And, you know, the last 12 months has absolutely been a challenge. There's no doubt about it. But I do think, touch wood, we are out of the biggest challenge period that we would have seen on Amazon, and I think we're going to start to see now some you know, good changes kind of put into place with Amazon. And I was thinking about this today because there has been a lot of changes on Amazon over the last sort of 3 months, and there's been quite a few in the first quarter. You know, we're seeing the return of EFN, which, you know, a lot of people haven't really seen the benefit of yet. Whether or not a lot of people will end up doing it, there's a lot of caveats, there's, you know, different fees, and, you know, it's one of those things that people need to do it for a period of time really to see if it's going to be worthwhile doing it for them. So, you know, that's going to be an interesting period. But we've seen a lot of changes in the US marketplace over the last few months. Hayden's joined us as well. Lizette says, sounds good here. Actually, Hayden says, very exciting world with Amazon's growth in the last year, which is not slowing down. Absolutely. And it really depends what you are focusing your effort on at this period of time. But there's been a lot of changes in the US. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about tonight, which there's been kind of murmurs about this for a little while. I mean, we've seen lots of fee changes in the US. The referral fees. Was it referral fees? No, it was the FBA fees were increased in America, and that there's been a lot of negativity about that. But I think what people probably haven't realized is Amazon was on hold for 2 years, essentially. Amazon, the way that I see it, and people might agree with this, people might not agree with this, but I feel Amazon was coping the last couple of years with the pandemic. They weren't really introducing anything that they wanted to introduce. They were just dealing with the effects of the pandemic, and they were just really kind of not muddling through, but trying to get through it as best they can. And Amazon put on a lot of their stuff that they probably wanted to roll out, you know, over the last few. They kind of put all that on hold. And, you know, that would have included fee increases and all this type of thing. So it's definitely something that I think 2022, we are going to see more changes than we will ever see during this year, purely because Amazon's got 2 years to catch up on, and, you know, 2 years where it put its business on hold and 2 years worth of innovation that they've got to put into place.
Interesting thoughts.
Interesting thought. Again, no question there either, just a statement. But one thing I have been seeing, Luke, did you see this? I know you're not a flipper, are you? You're not an Amazon marketplace flipper. You don't buy on Amazon, sell on Amazon.
No, never done it. Never done it.
No, used to do it back in the day, mainly for used to sell EFN. You know, that was one of the best places you can do it. I remember used to be able to get the Hatchimals from Germany and sell them back into the UK, you know, at the really popular time of the popularity of those type of things. But did anyone else see this? I saw it was put in Johnny Smith's group, actually. I think Ben put it in there, that there is now some kind of solid evidence that Amazon in the US is cracking down on Amazon flips and starting to suspend accounts where people are purchasing from Amazon to sell on Amazon. Now, I don't know the full circumstances of it, so it is, you know, speculate. Well, I've seen the email, so it's not really speculation. It is something that's actually happening. But I know there used to be the rule that you don't sell, you don't buy at Prime, but it doesn't really appear that there was this type of issue with that. So it would be interesting to hear what people, you know, people's thoughts are on that, in terms of, do you guys that are watching, do you buy on Amazon and sell on Amazon? Because if you do, it might be important to stop now. But we're seeing so much stuff happen in the US and not a lot of stuff coming over here at the moment. So it's really, really difficult to kind of get a gauge on, you know, what we think is going to come over here and what's going to have an impact over here. We can only go on past experience, which is, if it was rolled out in the US, it tend to follow suit, you know, maybe 3 to 6 months later here. And I don't see any reason why that would change.
It'd be bad. I mean, it wouldn't look good if it came out in the news or something, would it?
No.
Like, there's been a lot of articles like about Amazon and the kind of what general people would call shady, you know, activities, and it's probably just, it's like, do they really need it?
Mm-hmm.
In my mind as well, that it really, business terms, it's good because they're selling it for what they want, and then they're getting fees, which is like extra profit on top of whatever they've just made. So they're getting 2 lots rather than someone just buying it. And it, yeah, do you kind of get what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think the thing is with Amazon, though, there's so many things that when you're selling on Amazon that you can sort of say, oh, well, I don't understand why Amazon wouldn't do this, that they're getting the money for it if it's, you know, not an issue whatsoever. Then you would think that's logical to think that they're making money off the back of it. But Amazon doesn't seem to work like that. They don't seem to care about that. They just seem to, you know, do what they want, which is their platform, which is absolutely, you know, their prerogative, of course. Johnny's joined us. Johnny, your ears must have been burning. I was just talking about you, just asking, hey, yeah, Hayden, how did that Diary of the CEO? I think
he said life-changing.
Yeah, blown away. That's interesting. That's the guy for Dragon's Den, isn't it? I think that's all.
Yeah, it would be.
Is it Stephen?
I haven't seen it since he's been on there though, but.
Yeah, I haven't. All of a sudden, I just, you know, stopped watching Dragon's Den. I haven't watched it for ages, but I keep meaning to go back and keep watching it, but, you know, keep forgetting, unfortunately. Nick says, if I buy 2 products, for example, from Amazon and bundle them together on a different listing, if I buy 2 products, for example, or from Amazon and bundle them together on a listing, well, you would think technically that was okay. But the email that I saw and the post that I saw about it didn't specify in how it was done, but it was more a case of the fact that the goods were being purchased from Amazon to sell back onto Amazon. Now, we actually buy from Amazon for certain parts of our bundles, more the kind of generic kind of products. So I would not stop continuing to do that. I think maybe they see it more of a under the kind of price gouging type scenario, although again, the email didn't specify it was price gouging, but maybe it's a case of that actual, you know, just buying it and for a flip. So I wouldn't actually stop doing that from our point of view. So providing it's, I see what you mean, because it's going on a different listing. So how could they potentially kind of pick it up? But it's something that it's not an official communication from Amazon as such, which has been so much lately. There's been so many changes lately that Amazon hasn't even bothered to let their sellers know about, that it's kind of a really hard one to gauge. So if you are going to continue to do it, I would say that the same rules still apply. Don't order anything prime, you know, try and, you know, keep it as kind of legit as possible. But, you know, I also wouldn't put it past, and again, didn't see any evidence of this, but I also wouldn't put it past if it would be linked with some sort of review manipulation as well. Oh, he's off. Letting the dog in. I wouldn't be surprised if it was to do with, some sort of, oh, here he girl, boy, can't remember.
Boy.
Alfie.
Alfie, look, say hey.
Hello. I'm not going to wave to the dog. Oh, he's quite cute.
I'll put it back out because he's He's a bit annoying.
He's too distracting. He's too distracting. So yeah, I wouldn't put it past if it was some sort of, again, linking to buying account, selling account. If you buy anything, I mean, if you do buy from Amazon, even if it's nothing to do with reselling on Amazon, it's a good time to reinforce, do not leave any type of reviews. So again, something we haven't talked about for quite a while in the group is, you know, if you're just buying your shower gel or something from Amazon and you're buying it from Amazon direct, or especially if you're buying it from third-party sellers, make sure you do not leave any type of reviews moving forward, because we've definitely seen performance notifications for people leaving reviews thinking that there's some sort of dodgy business going on, that you're leaving fake reviews or you're doing this or you're doing that. So make sure, guys, if you do buy from Amazon, that you do not leave any type of review, regardless of whether or not you're selling on Amazon, reselling the products on Amazon. So just make sure you don't do that at all. So that's a good tip to do that. I've seen people get in trouble on that for sure. Cindy's joined us. Evening. Many celebrities turned up. Johnny says, thanks for the shout out. You're welcome. Yeah, Peter says, Stephen Bartlett, he's the most successful person I met at uni. He dropped out after the first lecture. Makes you think. Absolutely. Philip says, I don't buy from Amazon. I can always find the stuff cheaper elsewhere. Well, that was my narrative, that, you know, I can, although during the pandemic, I must admit, I did end up buying more stuff on Amazon that I've ever bought before, just because of convenience and, you know, obviously being locked down and that type of thing. But still, you know, I rarely buy from Amazon, because I think being a hardcore, you know, original OG arbitrager, you often find that tends to come with a bit of bargain hunting nature. I find the stuff on Amazon pretty expensive, and the stuff that is cheap on Amazon, I don't buy. You know, I don't buy the stuff.
If anyone wants some Waitrose, what is it, rice pudding? I think I'm selling it at $1.99. Basically a loss. It's like I'm just getting rid of it. Sometimes if it's too cheap, they actually delist it and say there's a pricing error. I've noticed that. It's really annoying, because sometimes I just want to get rid of stock. So there is items on Amazon that are cheap. Well, actually, I don't know how much that would be, but I'm guessing it's at least the same, or, you know, it's just an old, I don't know what happened. I think I bought like 100 rice puddings or something, and it never sold. So I had to literally bring it down so much, because I didn't want to have to recall it and muck around with all that.
Send it to your mum.
Yeah, it's, you know, what's you gonna do with like 100 packs of 1 kilogram rice puddings or whatever it is? You know, there's limits to everything, really, I think.
Yeah, she'd have to put her Nando's sauce on it. Just live on rice pudding and Nando's sauce.
No, it's rice pudding.
Yeah, that's what I said. Because you sent her all, didn't you send her all your Nando's sauce as well, like 3 years ago?
No, I don't know. I sent all those Thorntons like 2 years ago, a year ago.
Thorntons, yeah.
Like grand's worth.
Something like that. Yeah, Cindy says, I buy from Amazon and never leave reviews. One time Alexa asked me, how was your product delivery? And I was about to say stop, and my little boy shouted good. I was like, no, all good so far. Yeah, absolutely. Do you know what, that's one thing I'm kind of surprised about is there was probably a few years ago that there was a lot of talk about how much Amazon were going to go down the kind of spoken word ordering route, and how you created your listings, and it being kind of contextual, and the way that it flowed in, you know, they wanted listings being written in more of a spoken tone as a kind of read tone. But that was something that kind of really never came to anything, and I can't say that was anything really down to the pandemic, because, you know, that was something that kind of petered out quite a lot before that anyway. So I am surprised that they definitely don't go down the more you know, spoken kind of order route. It's something that's always surprised me, whether or not people just haven't got on board with that yet. I don't know. Oh, what was that?
Oh, I just got my Facebook left up. I just
okay. But yeah, no, that's interesting. Peter says, I think even if I was a billionaire, I wouldn't pay $1.99 for rice pudding. 30p all the way, baby.
It's a big pack. I actually don't. You can just find it. Go to Waitrose and find, like, just type in rice pudding, and it's just like this purple pack. If they still have it, and you can find out how much it actually costs. No idea. Not even know how big it is, to be honest. I said 1 kilogram. It could be any size.
Yeah. Never mind the rice pudding tonight. Definitely. So Philip says rice pudding is out and semolina is in. I don't even know what that is. Nick says, I have 3 different accounts for Amazon. One is purely for Seller Central. Other is an Amazon business account. Third is personal Amazon account. I got flagged for leaving a rating without thinking on my personal account for a secondhand book. I was selling on my Seller Central account. Yeah, absolutely. I don't dare leave any reviews on any of my Amazon accounts. Yeah. Amazon would actually consider that as review manipulation, and actually it's one of the most serious things that Amazon can have you up for. It's definitely not worth it. It's something that doesn't get talked about loads. Remember when we first talked about it ages ago, people were like, surely not. But yeah, Amazon really do not like that. And it's not that they don't like it because of why we think they wouldn't like it. It's because everything on Amazon is automated. A bot cannot, and we've talked about this a lot, haven't we, Luke, that a bot does not recognize intention. It's just literally given a set of rules.
At least one day it probably will, which might save a lot of hassle with everything in the world. But yeah,
it's gonna be scary. But a bot, and again, this is why I think sometimes the longer you've been a seller, the longer you've dealt with Amazon, the more you do understand this, is that most of the things that happen on Amazon is not because it's being done by Amazon itself. It's being done by an algorithm, or it's being done by a bot. And we all kind of take it personally, thinking, oh, for God's sake. But what it comes down to is Amazon is too big, and it's, there's too many products. There's too many alerts, notifications, IPI, whatever, all of these different things on Amazon, that they couldn't possibly review it manually. One of the only things that they still review manually, which is interesting, is in the listing process, where they still review all pictures manually. I didn't know if you knew that, Luke. All images.
I think you told me before.
Yeah, so that's one of the only things that Amazon really, apart from suspensions and things like that, obviously. But one of the things that...
What about ungatings?
Probably ungatings as well. I was thinking more of the sort of process of, listing. That's one of the things that's... checking an actual listing is still done by a bot. I haven't turned my notifications off. Matt did something to my computer and he's changed everything on it. I don't have to turn anything off. I don't go. Yeah, he updated it and it's all changed.
That happens.
I know, but it's really annoying me. I don't know how to turn anything off. So ESA is going to be fun on Thursday. It's going to be like loads of notifications popping up. But yeah, he's changed something on my computer. But yeah, images is that's why it takes so long. So if you're ever creating a listing, images are still reviewed manually. And, that's why it can take up to 24 hours before your images appear on the listing that you're creating. Generally, it happens overnight. Sometimes it can happen within a couple of hours. But yeah, bots, that's one of the reasons why you get suspected IP claims. It's one of the reasons why you get all these kind of policy violations, why you get a weird violation where you think, that's got absolutely nothing to do with what I'm selling. It's because you've been picked up by a bot, or something has triggered it within the listing. So yeah, please don't take it personally. And that's definitely the case with the reviews there. They can't differentiate between, buying and selling. All they will pick up on is something is not right in that process, essentially. But that's why it's all automated, unfortunately. But we would never get anything done on Amazon if it wasn't automated. So it's swings and roundabouts, unfortunately. So just be careful on the flip side of things at the moment. And like I said, this is something that we're only seeing in the US at the moment, but things tend to, you know, follow suit over here. I wouldn't be surprised, you know, one of the big changes that we saw, like I said, in the US is kind of fee increases, which we did have a little bit of a fee increase, you know, last year. But I wouldn't be surprised if we do see fee increases this year. I think that's one of the big things, you know, obviously, whilst we're still in this period of hyperinflation, it would kind of make sense for Amazon. I still think one of my big predictions, and be interesting to see if this actually happens, I think the professional fee will go up this year.
The £30 a month thing?
Yes. So 25 plus VAT.
You're going to be 100?
I don't know what I think it will be.
Really. I mean, it is, but it makes people not just, I mean, in theory, it's not a lot. If you know you're going to...
It's never gone up. It's the same price.
Huh? So you broke up for a second, so I didn't hear it.
Oh, yeah. No, the £25, that's what it was when they launched it. It's never gone up.
I think it should be 100, actually. Or even like 250. I know it sounds a bit crazy, but like maybe 100 to start with. But it stops people from just signing up for the sake of it.
Yeah, I mean,
be a little bit more thought behind the choice to sign up, which is good because they don't want. It's more like they don't want fake information, do they? You know, when they look at new people. And for us, it's not anything crazy, really. It's a bit annoying, but it's not, you know, that much for me.
Well, I think it's one of the least talked about fees. I don't think anyone really talks about it. You just pay your 30 quid and, you know, and that's it essentially. But it's never, ever, ever gone up. It's been the same price since they launched FBA, which was 10 years ago. So, you know, that's not seen any type of increase. So I think, I don't know what it'll go up. I'm just going to throw it out there. I think they'll put it up to £45.
$99.99.
There we
go.
No,
actually, they won't because they're doing it at 30 at the moment and they didn't do $29.99. So I'm going to say 100.
Yeah, no, it'll be a round figure. It'll definitely be a round figure. It won't be a 97 or a 99 or a 95. I think they'll put it up to £45, which with plus VAT, 9 quid, that'll take it up to what, 54 pounds?
Oh, I'm talking about all it in 100. So you would claim back the difference.
Mm.
Is that right? Oh, whatever, around that would do. Yeah. Around that number.
Johnny said we just had a fee increase. No. Are you talking about UPS? We did have a fee increase last year. I think it was June. There was a slight increase in terms, I don't know if it was a more digital tax, but there was another fee increase. And I'm just trying to think of what it was. We saw, FBA fee increase. Yes, there was, wasn't there? And then we saw, obviously, I think the one that you're talking about recently was like the removal orders and everything. They all went up recently, I think. I think they did. I'll have to check it out.
That sounds a bit scary, worrying that I say I don't know that.
I think, the one that we saw was definitely, more relating to disposals. That's what I think it was. I think we saw one relating to.
I don't really ever do disposals, actually. That's probably why.
Yeah, which is essentially the same as, I think they made it, disposals is essentially the same as, starting 31st of March. I'm going to have to see which one that is. I don't know which one it was. I know, I'm try and find it now. But I don't think, that's the last one I sort of honed in on. So I have to double check on that. But probably, there we go. We've got a link. That's good. I'll have a look on there while we're reading that. Thanks for highlighting that, Johnny. Always good to know. I'm going to log into that so I can have a look now. You can do your puppet show, Luke.
We're not on ESA. It's only for special paying customers.
I know, only for special occasions. Absolutely. Right. Okay. Well, the other thing I wanted to talk about, I'm just going to try and multitask and have a look at that. So why I think this year definitely is going to be, a challenge for some people. I don't think it's going to be all bad. I think there's a lot of opportunity on Amazon. But I do think one thing people really do need to look at this year is now I've got to log into Seller Central. One thing that I think people really need to look at is making sure that they maximize the benefits of FBA as much as possible this year, you know, really stacking up those kind of discounts, cashbacks, discounted gift cards, you know, as much as possible to be able to put yourself in the most competitive position as possible in terms of getting the most bang for your buck for, you know, the purchases you're making. And I think that's really going to be important this year in terms of maximizing those benefits as much as possible. Now, it's become more popular over the last few years, you know, to get cards like Capsule and Tap, American Express, you know, that type of thing. So you guys, whilst this is not financial advice, so don't take out, you know, any type of credit if you can't afford to pay it back or whatever. So, you know, make sure you're really careful with that type of thing. But just making sure that you're maximizing those benefits as much as possible, because I think that is really going to make a big difference this year in terms of, yeah, just making sure that those profits stretch as much as possible. Right, I've got this up here. So let me see what Johnny's just put. Amazon Europe FBA and referral fee changes. Starting 31st of March, selling certain fees will be adjusted in our Amazon Europe stores. Most referral fees will not change, and we're only making moderate increases to fulfillment fees. Review the detailed fee changes below. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, this is the one that I saw about the return and the disposal fees. It did say, I think most fees will not change. Let's just have a quick look. Live updating. Let's just have a quick look. I'm not sure who asked the question. Literally margin squeeze into the Mac. How is selling in Europe for anyone that's doing it? Is anyone selling in Europe yet? Let us know.
Not me.
I hate these. You won't be selling in Europe. You won't even bother selling in Europe, will you, Luke?
I mean, I will look, but I just don't think really the products they sell are gonna. Maybe some, but realistically, probably not.
No, I think it's one of those things that I think it's going to take a little bit of time, a little bit of you know, a little bit of what's the trial and error, you know, trial and error of, you know, seeing what works. And I think you're absolutely right. Whereas before, you know, when you used to be proper EFM back in the day, even before they increased all the rates, you know, to make it more favorable for pan, you know, selling pan-European, I think that you just used to put it all up and, you know, it just used to sell and you know, you could put 30% on it, £8 on it or whatever you wanted to do, and it was absolutely fine. Whereas now I think that, but I do think if you're that type of person that can put the due diligence in and happy to experiment with certain products, I think that there will be some great opportunities for the people that are prepared to research for certain types of lines.
Yeah, I think there always is. It just seems to be like, you know, for example, like Playmobil in Germany was always amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Lego,
and like,
toys. And certain things were just really. I remember some grocery items in like Italy and France and Spain, just very select, but they always sold really well, and you could sell 30-40 units or something with more profit on it, and it was like just repetitive, you know, like a replenishable kind of style. But you add a handful of those across different marketplaces, and it's still almost free money because you just buy more of that same product. So they are there, or they were there. Obviously, might be different now. So it'd be interesting to see. Anyway.
Well, I think it definitely will be, and I think you're always going to have that, you know, ability. And you've got to remember as well, the pound was a lot weaker, you know, when we kind of exited a year ago. So people were not getting potentially as much back as they were, more back, you know. Whereas when just as we left Europe, it was like the optimal time for us to be selling into the European market because the pound was so weak. So we were getting not only higher prices, but we were getting more bang for our buck back. Whereas now, obviously, the pound has strengthened a little bit more against the euro. So people probably might not have taken that into account as well. So there's lots of different variables. But I definitely think during the sourcing process, it is worth looking to see now whether or not you could potentially make money. But I do agree with Luke. I think it's going to be more on the kind of toy stuff. But obviously, you're going to have to make sure that those toys are, have that responsible person in place, that they're going to have the right type of, marks on them. They're going to have the CE mark. Obviously, we've got the UKCA mark, which is going to be coming in the back end of this year. So I think I talked about this a few weeks ago, or never mind the buy box. Any product.
Does that mean that a lot of people that buy from Playmobil, because it's from like Netherlands, isn't it, or something? Is it all
Lego is Danish?
No, I meant Playmobil.
Is Playmobil, where is it from?
Well, I know that it's always shipped from a European country.
Yes. Well, is it German?
Wouldn't that then have different marks on, or because you're buying it from a UK marketplace, it would still come with the correct ones? I don't know how it works.
Companies like Lego, Playmobil, anybody that's probably an audited company, which means that their turnover is, more than, I think it's 7 million a year. Is it 7 million or 11?
I thought it was at 10.
Yeah, so somewhere, anything that any company that's going to have, audit, full on auditing process in place, they're just going to whack it all on. They'll have the responsible person. They'll have the UKCA mark. They have.
I didn't know if it could have that. I didn't know if it had to be separate or have
No, I don't. I think I showed an example. I haven't got it here where I had that. It was like a Care Bears box that had the UKCA mark on and it had the CE mark on. So I think it will just have all of it on there, essentially moving forward. I don't think the big companies would just kind of muck around. Where it's going to affect people the most is if you are a European seller selling into the UK moving forward and you are your own brand owner. That's where, most people, maybe where they have such a lead time of stock that they've ordered stock, I don't know, for 2 years, so they might have to have have their products repackaged or reprinted. I don't know how it would work. This is an interesting one. I don't know how it would work is if you can actually physically apply a UKCA mark on afterwards. I wouldn't have thought so. I would have thought it would have to be permanently affixed to the packaging. So yeah, I don't know. That's interesting because technically,
you can probably laser it, but I know it might not be official. But
yeah, but no, if your stock's already in Amazon, if it's already in Amazon or something like that. So, that's a few issues I think is going to come across that when we come into that, which is the end of this year, when all products being sold into the UK that require a UKCA mark will have to have them added to the product. So, but that's a whole nother problem for a whole nother day, and something most of you guys are reselling, you're probably not even going to have to worry about anyway. So Mohammed's asked a good question, which is, I'll let you answer first, Luke. Do you think that OA, RA and wholesale is a great business to start in 2022?
Yeah, I think it's always going to be. Yes, things change, but I remember back in the day when I started 5 years ago, or 6, I don't know how many years ago, people were saying then, when I was just the new guy, like literally doing a couple of grand turnover a month, people were saying OA is dead or RA, like the whole thing about reselling on Amazon is dead. And there was a lot of people saying that. And they were like, nope, it's a load of crap, can't make any money out of it, like absolutely slating the whole thing. And it's like, until it's dead, it's not dead. It's kind of
yeah.
And that's how I see it. It's like until there's literally until it is gone and there's no way it's feasible. It's feasible, even if it's different than what it would have been in the past, and it might be in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to be perfectly honest, I don't think it's ever going to die. Yeah, it might change. Might be different things that you have to do, and it might be things like what Luke said. They might put up the selling fee to 100 quid a month, and that's going to have to be factored in. They might increase FBA fees, and that's going to have to be factored in. All of these different types of things that we can. But I think the most important thing is that to expect that. And I spoke about this the other day. Seth, who sells the books, interviewed me for his podcast was it this week? I think it was last week. And we were talking about this because, you know, he sort of like said, oh, if you kind of starting again, you know, what would you start? And I said, absolutely would start, you know, online arbitrage, retail arbitrage, you know, if it was starting from scratch, no issues whatsoever. Because exactly for what you said, Luke, that 5 years ago, it was not the same as it is now. And 5 years from now, it's not going to be the same as it is today. But as long as you have the attitude, the mindset, and the ability to be able to adapt to the changes that Amazon put in place, or, you know, potential bottlenecks or whatever, and you're able to navigate them, there's no reason why you cannot adapt your business. It's not going to go from today to tomorrow being dead, you know, as in it's going to die.
If it's going to happen, there'll be a slow bleed. People will probably have a bit of an okay year. Some people might go, you know, I've done plenty enough time now, I've got other things to move on, and then that might actually cause a resurgence, because if people leave, then everyone else strengthens. So it's very hard to say, like, unless Amazon came out and said, as of this date, there are no more third-party sellers, or something to do with splitting the website up because of the whole monopoly thing, then you don't know it's a lot of people might be put off and before that date shut down, like that. Obviously there's a bigger impact that could happen, but until then, we're just safe.
Absolutely. And yeah, you're 100% right there, Luke. It really does come down to, unless something massively dramatic happens overnight, which Luke has probably highlighted, the only thing that probably, you know, that could
the main thing is that whole separating of the marketplace from third party to Amazon, and having to be on a different website. Or maybe they could do it on, maybe you could go to an Amazon website, and then the actual two websites were then chosen. So you have two options. You have third party providers, and you have Amazon, however they would label it, Amazon premium and basic or something. I don't know, like how they could do it. But they do what they said. Yeah, I mean, who knows? I'm just randomly thought.
Yeah, so let's just fill everyone in on that. And this is something that's currently going on at the moment. It's not, again, it's not something that's going to happen overnight. It's been going on since Trump was president, you know, and really wanted to go after and kind of break up, you know, the dominance and the monopoly that, you know, Amazon had in certain areas, and kind of President Biden's carried on with it. There's something in the American Senate at the moment where it's to do with fair policy, that Amazon is being challenged. Whether, I mean, to be perfectly right, it's 100% correct that whether or not what is up for debate is whether or not it's fair policy that Amazon should compete with third-party sellers on the same marketplace. And, you know, is that fair? And one, we all know it's not fair. You know, I think we all know it's not fair. So, you know, this kind of legislation, this challenge, or whatever you want to call it, I don't know the American legal system, so apologies for not, you know, using, or legislation, I think it probably is being debated at the moment as to whether or not it's something that Amazon can continue with. So there is talk, possibly at some point in the future, that Amazon might be forced to separate its third-party selling business from the Amazon business. And what that will look like, and this is all speculation, is, you know, there's, you know, we talked about this ages ago, never mind the buy box. It's, you know, will Amazon come off of it, and, you know, will, instead of there being a visible buy box on the front, it'll all be done in the back end where you bid, you know, all of these different types of things. We have to send stock in on the basis of consignment. And yes, again, it's something that's only happening in America, but it would be, if it did happen, it would be so big that they would have no choice but to have a knock-on effect because of the infrastructure. It would affect the rest of the global marketplaces. But again, it's something that, even when you talk about that and the gravity of that situation, if anybody believes, I believe at the last count, third-party sellers were responsible for 55% of sales on Amazon. If anybody believes that Amazon is just going to roll over and accept that and go, yeah, all right, we'll stop selling or we'll get rid of third-party marketplaces, sellers, that they're just not going to do that. It's going to be something.
An interesting thought, actually. I was just trying to think, how do you keep, the interest on Amazon.com or Amazon without creating. What you could do is you could have Amazon.com as a third-party marketplace, and you could actually have the Amazon website as a different one, just because of obviously the thought process is if everyone goes to now the original Amazon when they separate it, no one might go to the third party because they want to go to Amazon.
Yeah.
And I was just trying to think around, like, how could you kind of like trick people almost to get, it's a bit of a psychological thing, isn't it? Like, people want to buy off Amazon. A lot of people don't even know it's third party. And if they had the choice and they knew a bit more and they were a bit more aware of the system, they might be like, oh no, I don't feel comfortable, or I want to buy from Amazon. And they would look, and if it's not there, they'd be like, okay, I'll have a think. I don't know how, obviously that's unknown, but it's just interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And I personally, again, like we were placing our bets for, what I think any potential increase of the fee might go up to, this professional selling fee. If I was the betting woman, which I'm not, but if I was, then I would think that it will go more down the consignment route, that you would have to send your stock just as we do now. So nothing would essentially change. You would have to send your stock, but there would be some sort of wording, some sort of agreement that you would.
Amazon would sell it for you.
That Amazon would sell it for you. So it will be on a consignment basis. I would say, so it will be sold, and then there will be like an internal on Seller Central back end. There will be some sort of internal fight for the buy box in the back end of Seller.
Almost like they're looking for, like, they got you, I don't know, like 200 units and that you can put bids in, but that would get, I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it would be a massive change, but I think if it goes that way, and at the end of the day, Amazon are not just going to roll over and say, yeah, all right, okay, we'll fix that. They are going to fight it to the death, tooth and nail.
Well, yeah, it'd take like 5, 8 years, 10 years.
10 years. It could take 10 years, absolutely. So it's something that it's not going to happen overnight. And even if they announced it tomorrow, again, it's something Amazon, and I suspect, Amazon, they've got I was just about to say, they've got every kind of, backup and system in place. But then look at the big mess that they made of Brexit. We all thought that there was going to be like a big plan to continue selling in Europe, and there wasn't. So I don't know, maybe there wouldn't. But like I said, this is something that even if it did happen, it's not going to happen overnight. There's no doubt about it. And I'm pretty sure that Amazon would put something like this in place, because ultimately, whatever way you look at it, if it did happen, they've got to sort out either 55% of their business or 45% of their business. So they are not going to mess around with that. And, like someone says, Hayden says, they'll have the best lawyers in the world on it. Absolutely. They'll tie themselves up in so much legality and appeals and this and taking it to the Supreme Court, and the the US Supreme Court and everything like that. So I don't think it's anything that we have to worry about too soon, certainly. Nick Kirk says Matt was saying that eBay might be considering their own FBA equivalent. I wondered what happened with that, if anything. Well, they did kind of launch it.
Did they?
Yeah.
I do remember something, actually.
Yeah, I think it was through...
Yeah, another company, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, where's Matthew Wright when you need him?
Yeah, I was going to say. He will know.
It wasn't Hubbu. It wasn't them, I don't think.
Didn't you say it wasn't very good or something? Am I making that up?
Yeah. I don't think it's really come to anything. I mean, and that's what you've got to consider Amazon being, why they're so good at what they're doing, because nobody has successfully managed to, duplicate the FBA program. That's why when people say, oh, do you think Walmart's going to compete with them? Do you think such and such is going to compete with them? Well, FBA has been around for 10 years and no one has successfully managed to rival it, in not even come close. And the people that have started to do it, it's, they're years and years off of making making it happen, and by then Amazon would have moved on even more.
The companies literally got to think, right, we're going to have to think of the next one. So any products that you want, as long as it's consisting of 400 materials, you send us the schematics, we'll print it on site, FBA, similar, like, and it'll get sent. You don't send any physical stock to them. It's all printed 3D. Like, they're thinking that they're preparing way in advance. They're thinking, we can't get, it's going to take us 10, 15, 20 years to get to this kind of FBA model like Amazon have got. Well, by then there could be something new that's start to be invigorating our creation. And I don't know, only because for some reason I have that thought process of, at some point, stock won't be sent. Some stock will, but a lot of stock won't be sent, like in lorries and stuff. It will just be digitally sent, and then at a point of creation, it will be like the local warehouse. Obviously, it will depend on like materials and stuff, and it will be 3D printed. But you can do that on a lot of private label products.
Yeah,
you send them literally the almost like the whatever you want to call it, like the details, schematics and everything, and that will be the value. That will be what you pay for, actually. In theory, so you buy and you're allowed to print X amount of stock. Obviously, you have to work out all that crap in the future, and then they print it, and then they can sell it that way. So you don't actually have to store any stock physically anywhere until the point of printing, and it's gone. But I think that's probably gonna. I mean, that's just my random thoughts. I like to.
There's a huge POD movement on Amazon, and there is on a lot of the other marketplaces as well. And I think that do I think it'll ever overtake physical stock holding in hand? I don't think so. I think that will always be paramount in the way to sell on Amazon. But they were talking about, and again, it's not. I know obviously it's an area I specialize in, but it hasn't really come to anything. But on brand registry, you can actually do things called virtual bundles, where you don't have to physically have the products bundled together. It's something but it hasn't really come to anything as yet. But it might well be it hasn't come to anything as yet because of all the reason we've discussed about at the top of the episode tonight, is that a lot of things have been put on hold because of the pandemic. So it'd be interesting to see some of the things that come out of this year for sure. I know Nick was asking about on-buy and percentage of market and things like that. Again, Matthew Wright is definitely the one to speak to. I know Matt does quite well on buy, but I think it's a very expensive marketplace in terms of the people. I think people do a lot of drop shipping. Matthew Wright doesn't do drop shipping, but I think it tends to suit more expensive type products. That's how I understand it, but I'm not going to try and claim to know anything about on buy because I really don't, to be perfectly honest. I don't know. You don't sell on there, do you, mate?
Nope.
Nope. Paul says people buy on Amazon for convenience and the fact that you can get everything you need without third-party sellers. They will lose a massive selection of products. Absolutely. It just won't happen, Paul. It will not happen. I will put myself out on a limb and say that it just, Amazon's growth is down to its third-party sellers. Amazon's the biggest retail company in the world because of its third-party sellers. So, there's no doubt they're not going anywhere. They make too much money out of it. It's as simple as that. So whatever happens in the US, Amazon will come up with a solution. No doubt about it. Matt said, I think it was a pilot. Do you know, something orange comes to mind. The name Orange something, thinking about that eBay fulfillment. I can't remember, but the word orange comes to mind. I can't remember. Philip says it's the global shipping program and he's trying on eBay. Do you know what? In Matthew's group, everybody loves the global shipping program on eBay. It's much better than EFN. People really, really are getting on well with the global shipping program on eBay. It's considered to be definitely one of the best ways to be able to sell into Europe, as a much better than the current than the previous Amazon system or the current Amazon system. So yeah, really great feedback. I know a lot of people really do rate the global shipping program for sure. And knowing the type of products you sell, Phil, I'm sure absolutely that there will be a lot of opportunity there for that, for sure. Nick says, I've used global shipping on my personal eBay account, sent jigsaw puzzle to USA, seller pays UK postage, courier price to eBay, buyer pays UK shipping, and US shipping. Very easy. Yeah, really simple system, and really enables people to sell globally. I know it's in the name, but yeah, absolutely. So a lot of people definitely talk about that for sure. Philip says, I've started with On Buy, but it's got a terrible reputation, waiting for Vlad's new e-commerce platform. Absolutely. Be interesting to see when that comes out for sure. Matt says, apparently Walmart is only 1% for most of the top, where did that go? Most top US Amazon sellers, 99% comes from Amazon. Absolutely. Do you know what? If you are a physical product owner, if you are selling physical products, if you are not selling on Amazon, you're mad. It's as simple as that. If you are a brand owner, if you are somebody that's selling any type of physical products, unless your products cannot be sold on Amazon, if you are not selling on Amazon and you are not in the space, then, you know, you're absolutely mad. I found a product that I love, which I'm going to talk about actually on Elite Sellers Academy on Thursday. And I discovered this product. I was given this product. It's like a beauty product. I was given it by someone, and they don't sell on Amazon. They do not sell on Amazon, this particular brand. They would absolutely slay it if they sold on Amazon. So an opportunity for me. I'm going to contact them at some point and say, hey, you need to be selling on Amazon, and guess what? I can do it for you. So yeah, absolutely. I think in this day and age, if you are not selling on Amazon, you're absolutely mad. For sure. Howard says Amazon just need to stop selling on their marketplace and let the third-party sellers sell.
That's what I always thought. I always thought that Amazon will at some point focus on a basic and a premium version of their core products, but I don't think it's established enough. But they need to do like it's something Fire Sticks and stuff. They need to have a TV that's got built in, and they need a little bit more depth in that. And they seem to kind of went off the boil a little bit. But they would have a website specifically for that kind of product, those kind of products, where you basically know what you're getting. You know what you're going there to look for. And then you have the third party, well, the other marketplace, which Amazon don't actually even sell. And that's all the third. But they have to make it clear that it is done basically by Amazon, by themselves. That's what they would have to get across. That would be like, because people would be like, oh, that, because I've had people say that in customer messages, oh, that sounds dodgy. When I say I literally sell FBA, like when I say, oh, I can't send you any more stock because I don't have it with me, like when they say that kind of thing, yeah. And then I try to explain to them in a brief explanation, they just go, oh, that sounds dodgy. Like, well, like, you know, not a lot, but some people will find it hard to get their head around, I guess. Yeah. But anyway, that's kind of what I thought they needed to do, and I thought that's what they were going to do. Yeah. Because why are they wasting their time like with petty a couple £100 here and there, and even a couple of £1,000 there, when they can just create their own product for like 10 cents and sell it for £100? As in, you know, the other products they have to get from somewhere, which is not their own creation, so therefore the cost is higher than if they manufacture something in mass themselves. And I just thought that was a no-brainer, but I mean, they just do what they want, I guess. But
I think it comes down to this fair policy and competition, and you know what's right, because obviously a big part of it is their AWS. This is what comes into it, that they're collecting data, then using that data for their own gain to create their own products and do this and do that. So I think that's going to come to it. But as a kind of final thought for tonight, what I think would be easiest if Amazon just comes off Amazon completely, like seller support the lot. Just Amazon withdrawing and just let the third-party sellers get on with it. Never going to happen. Yes. Yeah, I think Amazon is Amazon's own biggest problem. But, you know, they have been for years, and I think they will continue to be for years. But that's it, Luke. I know you had a time limit tonight because you've got stuff to be getting on with. So we will wrap it up now. Thanks all for your contribution tonight. I really appreciate it. Guys, there's not going to be a Never Mind the Buy Box next week. Well, I'm certainly not going to be doing Never Mind the Buy Box next week because we're actually at a show next week. So we're going to the White Label Expo in London. If anyone's there and you see us walking around, feel free to rock up and say hi. So yes, we will be at the show for the most part of next week. So we will be traveling, I think, at the time that this will be on. So not going to be able to do it. So it'll be a hiatus for next week, and we will be back the following week with all of the Amazon news and maybe a different guest. Who knows? We will see. But Luke, good luck with your mints, NFT side of things. Your other job in the digital selling world.
Yeah, my girlfriend has one, and I have one potentially tonight. So the girlfriend's into it. She's got Dogamy, and it's literally a dog, and you basically play it on your mobile phone in like AR. And it's like a Tamagotchi basically, which is a bit more advanced. You can feed it and all that. So,
Oh, I don't know what that is, but yeah.
Do you know what?
Yeah, no, I know what a Tamagotchi is. Yeah. I know what Tamagotchi. That does sound quite cool. I'll tell you exactly.
AR. Sorry, I meant AR, not VR. But AR is when you can overlay things with a camera on your phone, but you see, when you can like add like dogs and things and in the real world, like Pokemon Go.
Yeah, I know what that is. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, it's in Tezos.
Well, I'll tell you exactly what happened. I thought I'd be cool a few weeks ago. I told you this story, didn't I? I'll be cool a few weeks ago. I bought some ETH, bought it in the dip, if that's the right way of saying it. Made money on the ETH in itself. Then Matt said to me, "Oh, there's a mint coming up, blah, blah, blah." He said, "Oh, I don't know whether to go for it or not." And I said, "Oh, maybe I'll buy it." And I ended up buying this NFT, right? And I bought this first time I've ever done it.
Do you have any idea what you're doing, by the way?
No idea. No idea what I'm doing whatsoever. I let Matt do it, but it was my NFT. And I let Matt buy this NFT for me. And then it came on and it looked like I won't go into the detail, but there was going to be this problem with this NFT and blah, blah, blah. And, it would have been the best thing to do is sell it and get out kind of thing. And so we sold it overnight, got out at like a small margin of a profit, but I'd made money on the ETH anyway as well. And the irony is like literally the market went the other way and it ended up being like a really, really rare NFT. And then when it revealed, it was like one of the rare ones as well. And if I'd had held on to it instead of just selling it in a panic straight away, because I was like, Matt, sell it, then I would have made quite a bit of money, but I didn't. But there we go. So that was my only exposure to NFTs.
What I actually say, though, the more it's like Amazon, the more hammering you get experiences, doesn't matter how good or bad they are, like it chisels you into a finer woman or man for later.
Yeah, you know what? It's too much for me. It's not for me. I'm not into it.
It didn't mint out, so cause a supply shortage. So I had something similar the other day. It didn't. Well, it minted out pretty bad, and then they actually capped it like 3 hours after mint, which was even more of a red flag because it was like it was meant to be. It had 100,000 Discord members, and they couldn't even get 5,000 to mint. It was like fake followers probably. And then so I didn't buy it. And I could have got 2 for 0.2. The next day, I look and it's at 2 ETH each. So I would have sold at 1 probably and made 2 ETH from 0.2. But, sometimes things you can't, half of these you can't predict for shit, basically.
That's what I mean. There's not enough.
There's so many out there you literally have, and they all do different things. You can, but you can on the real short ones, but overall, it's a bit. I'm still learning in those areas. That's why I haven't actually minted a whitelist because I'm still watching. I'm more likely watching, so I'm pretending to do it. I'm like, I didn't. Well, I'm not pretending because I didn't do it, but I'm more than watching, and I go, okay, and I'm using that information later. I'm like, okay, so that's interesting that happened. They did that. They capped the supply. They did, I'm trying to build up links.
It's a dream for you. You love your analytics. You love your facts, your figures, your patterns and things like that. It's for you 100%. And I
don't love analytics. I bloody hate them. I think it is boring.
No, but you're very good at it. You're very good.
I find it's the only thing I can do. As in, I find if I don't do that, I'm basically gambling. I would be gambling if I didn't have that as like my backbone way to kind of get like an edge. If you get what I mean?
But yeah, that was my only exposure to NFTs, and yeah, literally sod's law, gonna happen to someone. But you know, I walked away with like, overall with the ETH going up and everything like that, I think I walked away with like 800 quid profit, so I can't really argue with it that much. That's the way I got to look at it. Anyway, so yeah. Oh, sorry, went off on an NFT tangent then. So yeah, no, never mind the buy box next week because we will be away. So we'll see you in a couple of weeks, guys. Have a great couple of weeks, and we will see you then. Thanks for listening, everyone. Thanks, Luke.
Bye.
Bye.